So for years, the left has been falling off the wagon and making constantly the wrong decisions that any person with a sense of intelligence or common sense can see that it's just absolutely ridiculous. You know, things such as choosing like DEI candidates, like anything that falls under the buzzword umbrella, the woke buzzword umbrella, like choosing a candidate because they're black or a woman or they're trans or they're gay. Just simply for those reasons. Doesn't matter if they have dementia. Doesn't matter if they're smart or they're qualified. As long as they're fitting into the DEI agenda. Everything the left has been doing is centered around an agenda. And we can see that, you know? We can see that Democrats are absolutely desperate. They're fucking desperate. They're relying upon illegal immigrants to make sure they get a good enough vote, which is why they're against voter ID and they are for flooding illegal immigrants into the country and disguising it as good virtue to be giving immigrants a better way of life. That's not what it's for. It's so they get voted for. It's so they have a voter base. Because the United States of America does not like the Democrats. Another thing is they allow these illegal immigrants, or immigrants in general, to commit illegal fraud. Nick Shirley has already covered up fraud in Minnesota, and now he's uncovering the fraud in California. And it's like, I'm sure it's in every fucking state, but these are the big ones. And, you know, I'm sure his entire career is probably going to center around fraud and uncovering it. And probably uncovering the bullshit that Democrats have created in this country, all to get a vote that they just couldn't fucking get. Even still, even with all the illegal immigrants that they want to vote for them, that they have to vote for them, even with all the voter fraud, getting immigrants and illegal immigrants to be on the Democrat side, even with all the agendas and the manipulation and the lies that they spout, they still cannot get Americans to vote for them, which I think is fucking hilarious. So what do? They start a No Kings protest. Yep. Instead of looking within and saying, we're not doing something right, we are doing something wrong. You know, like a business, if a business is kind of losing a lot of money, it's probably because the business is doing something wrong. It's not the customer's fault, it's the business's fault. Democrats, you're doing something wrong. You're not doing anything right anymore. So this No Kings protest bullshit, characteristic of who the Democrats are. And today I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how the No Kings protest really just brings it all together. Really just goes to show who the Democrats really fucking are. What they truly stand for and truly care about. And that's what we're talking about today. So welcome to Treu Sovereignty, where we're mastering our minds so we can reclaim our peace. And on this channel, we intertwine self-improvement and critical thinking because you can't have one without the other. If you're an underdeveloped adult, mentally, emotionally, physically, you're not going to be able to understand what the fuck is going on in the world. And then that creates stupid people, which creates a shit society, which is what we're kind of leaning towards. So I really want my channel to be able to teach and open people up to the idea that in order to make a better society, you can't save the world through external activities. You save the world by literally improving yourself. And that is what this channel is all about. In the comments below, you'll see my community. We are growing a community of free thinkers, of intelligent thinkers, of critical thinkers. and we are meeting here on this YouTube channel, at least one of the YouTube channels, and I hope to make it a community one day where we can all meet together and not feel so fucking alone in this world. But anyway, let's get into the video and talk about this fucking retarded No Kings protest. So No Kings kind of implies that Trump was unfairly elected, or elected as a dictator, or he's trying to be a dictator, but that's just not true. Trump was elected fair and square, and I don't even necessarily believe in voting, but I do believe the polls, somewhat, and the polls show that whether people like Trump or not, the conservatives take over the United States as a whole. Like, U.S. citizens are mostly leaning moderate to conservative and prefer the conservative candidate over the Democratic candidate. Despite the fact how much I don't like Trump and how much people may not like Trump, he is still the candidate that wins out for whatever reason. I mean, the Democrats are just that fucking bad. And I really thought that the Democrats would fucking learn, because they chose two horrible candidates, Biden and Kamala. Now, they didn't even choose Kamala necessarily, but obviously Biden was on his last leg. Mentally, maybe physically, I don't know. So Kamala kind of got chosen for them. And these were just two horrific candidates. But Kamala specifically, Biden because he has dementia, Kamala because she's a fucking idiot. She's a bumbling word salad idiot. So I thought, like, okay, the Democrats have got to see something is wrong with their party, that they're making a mistake. Whether it's the citizens who are Democrats or whether it's the people who are in office. They gotta see that they're going wrong somewhere. But they don't. They just make a No Kings protest and cry about how Trump is still president. And if you want to make the argument, well, you're defending Trump and people defending Trump, he's a PDF file, he's in the Epstein files. Okay, and Biden isn't. You elected Biden. How can you complain that Trump was elected when you elected another PDF file, Biden? I knew Biden was a PDF file before he even got elected. And I was severely encouraging people not to elect him. Mostly because of his video sniffing little girls' hair at a photo shoot. And it was so blatantly obvious and blatantly disgusting. And I would talk to people, I would be like, you know, because Bernie was in the running. I'm like, I'm voting for Bernie. Like, I like Bernie. And I was like, did you not see the hair sniffing videos? Or even his way back videos where he was actually racist? And I would ask the people voting for him these questions. And they would say, oh, but that was a long time ago. That was so long ago. But yet, the same people will not let go of Trump saying, grab him by the pussy. Okay. Very odd. Very odd. Very hypocritical. But yeah, you can't complain that Trump is in the Epstein files when so is Biden, and so are other Democratic candidates, and other people that you like. All they care about is that Trump is in the Epstein files. That's all they fucking care about. Of course, because they have TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. So no, Democrats don't want to take accountability for the fact that their policies suck, their candidates suck, their agendas suck, their ideologies suck. Everything about them fucking sucks. They're hypocrites. They're hypocrites. They're so contradictory. They'll say one thing and do the opposite. It's insane. Whether it's the citizens being insane and crazy and ridiculous and murderous, or it's the government portion of Democrats who are liars, propagandists, warmongers. They don't want to take accountability that their party is sucking deeply. It is sucking deeply. And, in other countries where it has gone too far, like France and the UK, liberalism in these countries has already gone too far. It's already crossed the line of communism and Marxism. They literally have cameras in the streets now in the UK. If you drive an SUV, it costs you I don't know, $10 a week or something, $10 extra a week. So these little cameras will clock you when you go by and you're in an SUV, and then they'll send you the bill. We're already seeing in other countries how these policies are destroying these countries. So that's really what I want to hone in on, is that Democrats lack accountability. They really do. They're like a child who doesn't want to take the blame for something that they did, for something that's completely and utterly their fault. They completely lack accountability. And what they do is they shift blame. The entire party is emotionally immature and narcissistic. It's like the entire party is a culmination of an incredibly immature person where they don't take accountability for their shortcomings and things that are their fault. And not only that, but they shift the blame onto somebody else. And who are they shifting the blame to? Trump, of course. I'm not saying there's nothing to criticize Trump about. I'm not saying that. There's always something to criticize someone about. Nobody is above criticism. But the fact that they literally blame things on Trump that might probably don't even have anything to do with him is Trump derangement syndrome. That is the epitome of Trump derangement syndrome. They blame every single thing they do not like on Trump, even if he had nothing to do with it. They have nothing to run on. Democrats have nothing to run on except Trump hate, anti-Trump rhetoric. It's like, if you as a Democrat were to try to get me to cross over to be a Democrat, to convert, what would you say? All I've heard is anti-Trump rhetoric. Well, Trump sucks, so be a Democrat. That's literally all I've heard. I've not heard one good point on why I should go with Democrats. In fact, a lot of their policies, ideologies, and agendas push me away from their party. A lot of how their party behaves pushes me away from their party. I don't even want to associate with the party because of how the people within the party behave. They behave like screaming, crying, tantrum-having children. And I'm an adult who has grown beyond that. So I don't want to be around that bullshit anymore. And I don't know why you'd want to be. And I feel that if you are that way, or you choose to associate with people who are that way, then that's just who you are. That's what you are. And you're never going to grow up. You're never going to take accountability. And your life is always going to be a mess. It's always going to be a hard life for you. Because you're choosing to stay a whiny, big baby child. And that is the epitome of the Democrat Party. And the expression of that is the No Kings protest. No Kings is a distraction from what the Democrats actually have to do, which is improve their party. No Kings is the perfect representation of who the entire party is and what they stand for. And the entire party is just this emotionally immature, childish, mid-wit, loser adult who's got nothing going on in their life, has no purpose, has no real grasp on adulthood, has no real grasp on actual world issues and actual things and actual problems going on in this world. They're so distracted by their hatred for Trump. That is what this No Kings protest is. No Kings protest, more like no accountability protest. They're essentially protesting their lack of accountability. That is what they're protesting. They're protesting against the fact that they just need to improve as a party and that people might actually want to vote for them. People might actually want to join them. But they're turning into, or they already are, communist, Marxist, fascists who want to play the victim card, don't want to work, don't want to do shit. And again, we've seen this go down in real life, in real time. Whether in China, the UK, France, we see it happening in real time in other countries, and we're just not getting it. I don't think these No Kings protesters actually know what they're fighting for at all. You see the little interviews that people go do at these No Kings protests, they can't even answer simple questions about these world issues that they claim to be fighting against. They can't even answer simple questions about it. I've always been of the belief, if you do not have the knowledge about the thing that you're against or the thing that you're for, you need to stop and go read. Go read some articles, go watch a few videos, do something other than listening to propagandized news that gives you like the very superficial story. Because until that happens, you're just a brainwashed idiot that has no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, these people support actual cultures with actual dictators in them. They felt bad for Maduro, and protesters even claimed that they would rather Maduro be our president than Trump be our president. How scary is that? That these people are that dense with stupidity that they can't understand that there are actual dictators. These people actually support Islam, which is essentially imprisoning women in their own country. Yet they claim that Trump and the United States are oppressing women. It's absolutely bonkers, backwards, and ridiculous how easy it has been to brainwash these fuckers. They're absolutely in some sort of a stupor or a trance of absolute TDS or just propagandized leftist brainwashing. It's crazy how easy it is to manipulate people's minds into thinking a certain way for your agenda. And at the end of the day, they're still losing. At the end of the day, they're still unlikable. Whether it's in politics or in their real lives, these human beings lack accountability, emotional maturity, intelligence, critical thinking, the ability to think in nuanced manners or depth of any kind, whether it's in politics or whether it's in their real lives. I feel bad for the people who have to be surrounded by these people. I feel bad for the people who are married to these people, who are dating these people, if they're not just single, lonely basement dwellers. I'm sure some of them are married, right? Which sucks. It's sad. It's scary. Some of these people are even very violent in terms of their thinking. And I've always thought, you know, the stupidest people are the most violent people. You know, you see like how the Homo sapiens had to deal with Neanderthals, and that's probably where we get, you know, the uncanny valley, is because we had to deal with these people who looked very similarly to us, but they were not in their right state of mind. They were actually very dumb and very violent, not people that you can rationalize with. I feel like that's what we're dealing with. It's like whether you're conservative or moderate or nothing at all, you're up against people who have no common sense, people who have no sense of rationality, people that you cannot have a discussion with without violence, the threat of violence, people like yelling, a tantrum, crying, whining, complaining that they're being offended, complaining that they're being wronged in some way, shape, or form. Nothing about the actual argument at hand. It's like arguing with a child. Have you ever tried to argue with a child? It just doesn't work. You're at different calibers. You're just at different calibers. You can't have a productive discussion with a child, typically, 9 times out of 10. At least not with a very complex topic. You just can't. And that is exactly what it's like arguing or discussing with these No Kings protesters. You just can't do it. It is not possible. So that is my rant for the day with these No Kings protesters. And I hope this fucking shit ends already. Because this No Kings protest bullshit is not going to change anything. It's not gonna change anything, people. There is no king in the United States of America. There never will be. And if anything, the Democrats are moving towards more of what would be considered a king, which is a dictator. That's where they're moving towards. So I don't understand what their goal is here. Because they're rooting for communist policies, and communism typically has a dictator involved. So why? Why? I don't understand. It just doesn't make any sense. They don't make any sense. They never will. And if you explain it to them, they can't articulate what they're actually thinking. But anyway, if you like this type of stuff, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate you tuning in. If you've been keeping up with me, you know I kind of lost a job. And that job ends on Tuesday of this week, March 31st. I don't know when you're watching, but my job ends on March 31st, so I do have some freelance jobs to kind of keep me afloat, as well as unemployment. So that's cool. It does mean I'm still keeping busy, but I hope to maybe possibly start posting more. Right now I'm posting only once a week. So I'll try to at least post like maybe 2 times a week now that I will have a little bit of more free time. Maybe start doing some reaction videos and see if that brings in some more viewers. But anyway, thanks for sticking with me through this kind of like downtime that I've had, because I've been just trying to finish out this job. And yeah, I really appreciate you for sticking around, commenting, interacting with my videos. You guys know who you are. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.